So, welcome to the Board of Fire Commissioners special meeting. The date is Tuesday, September 1, 2020, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. Can you, Letita, can you give us the roll call?
Ibarra.
Here.
Glazier.
Here.
Hara. Stand by, just give him a second to unmute his mic.
Here.
Thank you, sir. Here. Ninberg.
Here.
Woods Gray.
Here.
Chief Terrazas.
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Rafish.
Here.
You have a quorum, madam.
Great. Flag saluted, moment of silence.
Please stand, right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag of the United States
United States
of America,
which is
and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of the Los Angeles City Fire Department who devoted their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
So let's start with the report of the fire chief.
Thank you, Madam President. COVID has significantly reduced public events. We did attend a press conference on August 19th at a Grossman Burn Center to recognize the outstanding work done by the doctors and healthcare staff at the hospital, as well as our members' amazing recoveries from the Boyd Street incident. As you recall, back in May, we had that horrific fire in which 11 firefighters were sent to the hospital. As of that date, August 19th, we had 2 members back to duty, and the other members are in various stages of recovery. It was a very positive event. The mayor was there, along with several council members, as well as several of our recovering firefighters. Beyond that, the past 2 weeks there's been a lot of discussions about deployments of our strike teams up north because of the brush fires that are occurring in Central and Northern California. At our height, we had 4 strike teams deployed with about 20 overhead personnel to assist in this effort. Yesterday, 2 of those strike teams returned to the city, so currently we have 2 strike teams outside of the city, as well as about 15 overhead. In addition to that, August 1st, the Erickson Sky Crane arrived, so they'll be here to the end of the year. And then effective today, we have access to the Super Scoopers, 2 Super Scoopers that we use in automatic aid with LA County. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Can we move on to consent agenda items?
Yes, I'd like to pull item F from the report, the status of LAFD projects.
Okay.
Item F.
Move to adopt the recommendation for items 2A, B, C, D, E, and G.
Okay. Do I have
Second.
a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. So those agenda items are passed. Let's go to 2F, which is report by the department on the status of LAFD projects. 2F, Chief Everett.
Good morning, Commissioners, Madam President. Commissioner Ninberg, if you have specific questions about 2F, I can try to answer for you.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Chief. Can we get the dates on the reports requested at the last meeting? It says TBD, the Gender Equity Report and the COVID Testing Organizational Report. And next meeting, we also have the drill tower update. So I'd like to get an update on the estimated completion timeline of the redacted data, as well as the Recruit Academy's current class diversity report. I think that would tie in nicely with that report.
Okay, so some of these items are going to be, they're being rescheduled. So we have a couple of things that we already have for the agenda for next meeting. So we're trying to move everything through, but it's going to be at a different timeline, just, you know, according to the needs of the operational needs of the department.
What do you mean?
Is the racial equity report scheduled? Because I'm having trouble finding my papers, getting my papers organized in the space.
Yeah, it's not on the list here.
Well, is it scheduled?
It's not.
Yeah.
The record report is not on the
Yeah.
list here.
It's not on the list?
No,
You
not at
have
all.
the drill tower update. That's it.
So,
No, we have
But
a couple of other things.
I asked for the racial equity report update 2 meetings ago. And how long ago was that? 2 months ago?
Yeah, it's coming. All these things are coming.
But because it's such a timely issue, and because the mayor has timelines on it, I wanted to hear it a little before. I don't want it to come in on the day before it's supposed to appear at the mayor's desk.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay,
with
we
Commissioner
have,
Gray.
there's
It's
other
not even
things
listed
that are
on-
going, there's other things that are also going to the mayor's office and to council that we also need to hear. So we're going to work through all of these things and, you know, put together the agenda for each meeting.
If I may comment,
Yes.
pardon, there is a hand raised. I don't know for what the item is. So before
Okay.
you move, or maybe, I don't know if on the items that we already.
Okay,
On the
so
consent
that's,
item?
so comment right now is about that, the status of the LAFD project. So I think we've exhausted that. So let's recognize.
No, we're not done.
wait.
We're not talking about this. We're not done talking about this yet.
We're not talking. Yeah, we're still talking about it.
Okay,
The racial equity report is not listed on here. It must be listed. It's an important report. Commissioner Woods Gray asked for it. I agree with her that it's important. It needs to be listed on the project status report, and everything may be sequenced. If it's being sequenced, then there needs to be dates on here. So as the commission, you can go ahead and assign some dates on here.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's a great idea.
we'll think
So-
about that, but Chief
Nope.
Everett,
Excuse me?
Go ahead, Commissioner Woods Gray. What?
I don't know why we have to think about it. We're the commission. We're supposed to make the decisions about these things.
but I control the agenda.
We're making a recommendation that the president needs to follow.
That's correct.
Okay, I'll think about that.
Nope.
No, that's
I'll
not.
think about,
But
That's
that's
you're not
what TV
voting. There's no
That's-
vote here. There's
yes,
no
there is
vote.
a vote on this item.
Well, I do,
We
and
can go
I
ahead
do
as a
want it.
commission and we can assign dates and vote on those.
Yes, I like that idea.
I do want it on the activity report because it needs to be there.
That should be, Commissioner Woods Gray, I don't know why that's not in the activity report. That should have been, because I do recall that you said that.
Yes, she
That
did.
might have been an oversight. But, so that
And
should be
so
on the report.
in lieu of the report, while we're waiting to get to the report, I'd like the mayor's timeline on this particular report, on this particular directive. If you could provide the commissioners with a timeline so that we'll know exactly when these reports are due and when the final report is due.
so just a comment about that report, ma'am. The mayor's draft report has been submitted. The gender equity report that's on the list now was probably confused for the racial equity report that you're asking for. So we will add the racial equity report to the list, and we can get the timelines from the mayor's task force that they're working on.
Chief Everett, last meeting I requested the gender equity report.
Right. That's why, so the gender equity report is on the list, but the racial equity report was probably not added because I think I was just thinking that I had the gender. That's why the racial one's not on there. So I'll get timelines from the mayor's task force, from Chief Rideout, and we can add that to the list.
And we have a meeting with the mayor on Friday, and I certainly would like to report that we're moving forward in a supportive position on this issue.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so if we could have the timeline as to when the report is really, because a timeline was attached to the directive. If we could see that timeline, then we can also stay ahead of and on top of what is going on with the report. But more importantly, we need to know what's in the report. I was given the first-hand information about the directive, but the rest of the commissioners have never been informed about that directive directly. And I feel it's unfair to the city and to the leadership for them to not be able to know what the mayor has actually asked for. Except when we read it in the newspaper, and we're really getting tired of that. Okay.
No, I agree. I think that we can come together and come up with some dates.
Well, we don't have to come up with dates because the dates are established by the mayor's office.
Oh, yes. I mean, yes, for the racial report, of course. But for the other reports that we should be getting that have been put on hold, they're all TBD. And these are critical reports that give us the tools to set policy.
Yep.
I'll think about that.
So I would like to, for example, the mental health responder training, that report is done. It was, we had the report, it was given to us in a prior meeting.
The thing is, we have 10 public comments today. So if we can just, so
the public comment, I understand, we're debating an item right now. Why are you trying to end the item?
It is, but we have.
Wait, so why are we having this meeting if we're rushing through everything? We need to be taking the time to deliberate appropriately.
The reason that we're not doing that is because from the very beginning, we've stated that we're in the pandemic and the department, we're trying to protect the department's resources. We're also doing testing. We're also fighting wildfires throughout the state and here. And so it's not really a great time. There's other important issues that are being brought to our attention today by people in the department who are here to state their public comment. And new people today, this 818 number on this matter. So so that was the plan, that was the plan. The last time that you guys tried to do this to us and tell us that you needed to have your items on your schedule, I told you we needed guidance from the mayor's office. I got that guidance from the mayor's office. So we're gonna work through this with the mayor's office. We're not gonna work through this here, okay? So this is, since
no plan we agreed to.
To what?
That is the guidance that I got from the mayor's office. Is the mayor's office is going to help us work through the priority of these items because they understand that they've asked this department to do a lot, and the department needs to do that. It needs to continue to do the testing. It needs to continue to fight wildfires. It needs to continue to just do everything that they need to do. So that's the last guidance I got from the mayor's office. All right.
Well, Madam President, I think that the commission needs to be updated on your conversation with the mayor because we're not aware of it.
Ordinarily, but I did mention that. That was when you guys brought up this issue before, I said we would get guidance from the mayor's office, and we have gotten guidance from the mayor's office. So the mayor's office is going to help us. Yeah. So, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do the agenda like this. Because this is unwieldy. This has never been the way that the Board of Fire Commissioners has ever worked during the time that we've been here and prior to that. It's not a court, I heard what you said, Commissioner Woods Gray.
Madam President, this is, okay, if I can speak for just a moment, this is Julie Raffish. So right now you have item 2F on the agenda. 2F requires a motion, a second, and a majority vote in order for the commission to receive and file the report as submitted to you. So at this point, that's what needs to happen. You need to call for a motion, a second, and a roll call vote. And if there is a majority, then the item will be received and filed. Otherwise, it will not be. So that's the status of this item.
Is that
So-
with the amendments? I mean, the addition of the reports that are missing that have been asked for 2 months?
Yeah, we can
Well,
add those in. We can
you
amend
are, well, here's the problem. Unless you have the precise language to incorporate in your motion for the amendment to occur as part of the motion, it simply just won't pass as presently written. How's that? So does that make sense to everyone? You would have to, you can't just say as amended. You have to be able to say to include the following
that's
additional
fine. No problem.
language.
Yes,
Okay,
no
so to include the following additional information which was requested 2 months ago, that the commission be given a update on the racial equity report as requested in directive by the mayor's directive 27 to the commission.
So are you
And that
asking,
furthermore, we have the, I beg your pardon?
Commissioner Woods?
And furthermore, we have the racial equity officer attend our meeting and give us a full update on the directive 27. That was my request.
Okay, are you moving to amend this particular report on LAFD projects to include an item on the racial equity report as well as a report back?
I mostly want the report back on where they are and what's going on. That's what was requested 2 months ago.
Yes,
But go ahead, Andrew.
so yes, so Commissioner Woods Gray, I think if you make that the amendment to the report, I will second.
Wait, I would also like to add the timelines for the remaining reports to come to commission. We have the gender equity report, the COVID testing organizational structure, as well as the mental health responder training.
Yep.
All of those are going to need to be discussed with the mayor's office as to the timeline for bringing them in.
Okay.
And
can we get a date
and the priority
in 2 weeks?
So I would like to amend the report. So I'd like to move an amendment to the report per Commissioner Woods Gray to include the racial equity report as a top priority for the project list.
Yes.
With a report back by the racial equity officer as to the status. And we would like that, and I would like the report to list the report date in the amendment as 2 weeks from now for that item, which would be the meeting of 9/15. 9/15, 9/14, which is it?
2 weeks from now.
I think it's 9/15.
For 9/15. Further, amend the report to list dates for several of these items here. For the gender equity report, and for the gender equity report to be, Commissioner Nimberg is 10/1 for that?
That's fine.
For
Just the
10/1
date when we can get it.
for the first meeting of October?
Mm-hmm.
We have a
For the
meeting.
COVID testing organizational structure for
Yes.
next meeting, so that we understand what's happening there. That's 9/15. And for the EMS mental health responder for 10/1.
Oh, wait,
That's my
and the
proposed
recruit,
amendment.
wait, and Recruit Academy current class diversity report.
Also for 10/1.
Yes.
that's not going to happen.
It's proposed, that's the amendment on the table.
That's
Madam
not going to
President,
happen.
And we
That's
can
too
have,
many-
There's a
that's too
motion
many
on the
things.
floor.
so you
There's
can
too
vote
many
no if you want.
things.
Feel free to vote.
There's
There's
too
a
many
motion
things.
on the floor. There's a
There's too
motion
many
on the
things.
floor.
Motion on the floor.
For
There's a
that,
motion on
for
the
one
floor.
meeting.
I second.
There's a motion on the floor.
This
Right,
is
it's been
unacceptable. This
It's been
is
seconded.
also against the guidance that I got from the mayor's office about how we were going to do this.
It's been seconded.
And there's a motion on the floor. I call for the question.
This is not what the mayor's chief of staff said how we would proceed. And if they didn't talk to you individually, I'm sorry about that, but that's what I was told, is that we were going to work through this with their guidance, not in this forum like this. So
We just want dates for when these reports are going to be.
I don't think we need any more discussion. There is public comment there, but there's a motion on the table. It's been seconded.
And I call for the question.
Well, don't call, hold on. Is there a before you vote, is there public comment on this item?
Let me unmute the person.
Just on this item, please, not on general public comment.
Correct. I don't know what they're raising their hand, Julie, unless I unmute, so stand by.
Sure.
Thank you. I can't. Carr, there you go.
Yeah.
The number
Hello?
calling in 818, the last three numbers are 283. Your hand is raised. What item are you calling to comment on, please?
The current item that you guys are discussing, we would also like to add the Reg 4 program. There's no TBD, there's no date on there. This is Daniel, ABNA Test, Chairman of the Fire Life Safety Committee. And then also, we would like to, there's many of us that want to discuss agenda item E as well. So,
well, but they already, I'm sorry, sir, they already voted on that item.
You guys didn't give us the opportunity to comment on item E, and there's a lot of us that are very interested in talking about letter E. So if you guys could revert that or go back to it. But yeah, there wasn't an opportunity for us to give a public comment on that item.
Yes, Julie, that he's correct because his hand has been up and we just went right through the regular motion without asking if there was additional comment on those other items.
If we can get through this one, I can move to reconsider E, and then we can take public comment on it.
That's fine.
That's it for me. I would like a date to talk about the Reg 4 program. Like you guys would like a date to talk about gender equality, COVID organizational testing. We would like a date to talk about the Reg 4 program.
This is why this is unwieldy. We can't just open it up and have it be done according to what each individual commissioner and what the public wants. It needs to be done according to the operational imperatives of the department in consultation with the mayor's office, who's the appointing authority for every single one of the commissioners on here. So I'm just disappointed, and I'm going to state that on the record, that I feel like this is the 5th meeting where I've been sandbagged by all the other commissioners. So, and I'll call them out by name, by Jimmy Woods Gray, by Andrew Glazer, and by Rebecca Nimberg. And I feel like now you're a 3-voting coalition. I know that at least 2 of you would like to be president of the commission and would like to have, you know, the power to make the agenda. But it's not. This is the way it is. I have the power to do that. I think that this is a very clever way for you guys to sort of usurp that authority. And I want to state that on the record because I think it's inappropriate. And it's a way of circumventing the mayor's wishes, basically.
Madam President, I want to make sure that the gentleman has completed his public comment on this item so that the commission can act. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure so that we haven't cut him short.
So have you completed your comment?
yes, but
Poor guy.
More importantly, we would like to go back to item number E.
Is it the same one we're on now?
Oh, ma'am.
We're on F.
Not. We're on F.
Well,
we
need to finish what we're on.
Many of us that like to speak on item E.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to say thank you. Yes. So you'll have an opportunity to speak on E, but let's close this out. I know that Jimmy and Andrew and Rebecca are all going to vote together as a block and that they will have their dates, but those dates are not going to be binding.
Okay.
So
Commissioner Ibarra. Commissioner Ibarra.
Madam President.
No. Everybody. What we have is a motion with the amendments that Commissioner Glazer has articulated. We have a second by Commissioner Woods Gray, I believe.
That's fine.
Correct.
Well, I don't know. Was it Commissioner Nimberg? Or
yeah, that was right. That's right.
Okay. And now there needs to be a roll call vote on this item. So Leticia, if you could call the roll.
There's an
Mara?
additional comment.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hey, Are we ready? Okay. This is Robert Hawkins, representing Stentorians. I would like to speak on the item. I just want to put it out there that the Stentorian organization, we believe that this is a top priority to have the racial equity report as well as the diversity report in the drill tower. So we support it as an organization, and I just want the commissioners to know that.
Thank you, sir.
Also, when those reports are made available, if you can, if they could be made available to our organization as well, we would appreciate that.
Of course.
Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I think if there isn't any more public comment, you really need to call for the roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay.
So I amend your amendment so that we have the racial equity report as having a specific date, but not October 1st, but not the rest of the amendment.
And what you would need, so you're making a separate motion, and so you would need a second on that motion and a vote.
Do I have a second on that motion? No. Okay.
Okay. So right now, the motion as articulated by Commissioner Glazier is what is before the commission, and you have a motion and a second, and now time for everyone to vote.
Wait, does that include the Reg 4 report?
I don't believe that was included.
There's no motion for that. If you have a vote on that, but I think there's too many things already.
So I'm happy to amend my amendment to add that to 12, for the date for that to be 11/1, or the first meeting of November.
Is there a second? Okay, so you have a motion and a second.
Yeah. That should be. I accept that as a friendly amendment to the amendment. So can we vote on the entire package of the amendments for this item?
Leticia, go ahead and call for the vote.
Ibarra,
No.
Glazier,
Yes.
Hara,
Aye.
Ninberg,
Yes.
Woods Gray.
Yes.
The motion passes as amended.
Okay.
Now with respect to
Madam President.
Yeah.
Madam President, I feel that I'm compelled to reply because you called my name earlier, and to say that I think that it's unfair that if you have a discussion, if you have a concern about me, that you should pick up the phone and call me.
I called you and you didn't call me back.
I don't know when that was.
I've been trying to call you since last year.
I've had the same phone number for 20 years.
I have the text messages
but at
right
any
here.
rate, Madam President, since you did call me out, I just wanted to express that publicly. That I believe it's very unprofessional and it's not good leadership when you call out your commissioners because you have an issue with the way that they're voting. This is a democratic process. The commissioners are here to represent the community and the people. That's why they're in the charter, as to be the public's voice for the city of Los Angeles. And we are definitely trying, be it late, to do our part. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've been trying to call you since 2019. I will send you the text messages.
There's no record in my phone.
I have text messages. So I have text messages. So let's please look at E. Do I have a motion to reverse the vote on E?
Second.
I move to reconsider item E.
Okay. Great. So,
you need to take a vote. Everybody needs to vote.
Correct.
Aye.
Glazier,
Aye.
Hara,
Aye.
Ninberg,
Yes.
Woods Gray,
Unmute yourself, Commissioner Woods Gray.
Sorry. Aye.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now the item is being reconsidered for the purpose of public comment. So the gentleman who had his hand raised will have 2 minutes to give public comment on this item.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Daniel, ABMA Test Company, and the chairman of the Los Angeles Fire Life Safety Committee. This, on item number E, it talks about increasing the fees for the Chief Regulation 4 program again. So we were at $1,500, now we're at $2,000 per license. There are a total of 22 different licenses as part of this program. It's making it increasingly difficult for our companies to do work in the city. Why are the fees going up? After doing some research, the fees are tied to fire inspector hourly rates. There's some inspectors that are making $300,000, $400,000, even $500,000 in a year. We do not think it's appropriate that our license fees are tied to these salaries. I'm speaking before you guys. I know that everybody on this phone call knows that the Chief Regulation 4 program needs a major overhaul. So why hasn't it happened? Why could the city find time to increase the fees, but not find time to overhaul this much needed program? If LAFD does not have the time or the resources to focus on this program, they should do like every other city and go with the state program. I'm going to call you guys out by name now. Deli, Andrew, Jimmy, Rebecca. We need to look at you guys for leadership, and we need you guys to do something about this. So I hope that we get something done soon, because it's been over a year since my motion has been on the table and nothing has happened. So I hope to get something done soon. Thank you.
President Ibarra, you can now call for a vote on
there's
item.
There's two other comments on this matter, I think.
Oh,
Leticia?
there are. Okay.
Or maybe there's another one?
One moment, please. This is part of the issue I'm having, Commissioner Ibarra, that I'm not able to unmute individuals sometimes, so staff keeps working on that for me.
Okay.
Here we are.
Hello?
Number beginning in 213 on 776. Are you commenting on item 2E of the agenda?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. This is Aaron Taxi, the Director of Government and Public Affairs for the Building Owners and Managers Association of Greater Los Angeles. BOMA GLA represents over 135 million square feet of commercial office space throughout Los Angeles County, the vast majority of which is in the city of Los Angeles. I'm calling with some concern about this item. As the previous speaker mentioned, this does make it much more arduous for any fire testing company to get licensing fees, which creates a shortage of testers on our end when our buildings need to fulfill their Reg 4 testing requirements. In addition to that, this is in a period, ultimately that cost will be passed on to our membership, who employs thousands and thousands of individuals across Los Angeles County with good paying union jobs in all elements of building operations. We're concerned in a time when our business tenants are going out of business, are struggling to meet their rent, as we are very generously negotiating deferral packages, that fee increases like this, especially when they do not come alongside with increase in service, will create further issues for us, and this is something that I am expressing across the board as our local government agencies and departments look to increase various taxes and fees on our industry that don't necessarily result in increase in service. So I hope that there's a robust conversation about this. We are happy to play a role in this conversation in the weeks and months ahead. But I thank you all for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I think we can call for a vote, or is there somebody, they've both spoken? So let's vote on this.
Sorry,
Very good.
I think there's been some important concerns raised here. I would actually ask that maybe we have a little more conversation about the increase in fee for this particular piece and understand it a little bit better. I think the point about building operators, they're going to be seeing unprecedented vacancies. There's some important points raised here about what a fee increase is going to do on that building testing. Is there a way for us to get a little more information on this and maybe come back to this in 2 weeks? I mean, the commission can do what they want on this. I'm just raising the point.
I think it's important. I think that the two speakers raised very valid points too, because at this time we're not increasing rents, we're not increasing other things like this. This may be something we really need to know why the department needs the increase, and have a better discussion, a fuller discussion, because we haven't had a discussion today, but we don't want to extend the meeting anymore. But let's, I think, bring it back and have a discussion and listen to because I know that's going to be a real problem, because these buildings, people are going out of business. And tenants are having to move.
Fire Chief, can I weigh in on this and make a comment?
Yes, please. Yes.
This is an annual process. We could have ASB come back at a future meeting and explain the process, and then that would allow questions from the commissioners.
That'd be great.
Thank you, Chief.
Right.
So I also know that there's some statutory issues that we have, like we have to recoup our costs so that we're forced to do fee increases. So that's another reason why we should, I mean, I'm fine bringing it back another 30%. Time.
There is also, I'm sorry, there is also another individual with a 714 prefix 800 ending number. Do you have comment on this item also, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you identify yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm David Deutsch. I work for a company out of Orange County that does a lot of Los Angeles fire alarm systems, including the Reg 4. I have been a certified fitness for approximately 20 years. These rate increases, as they're shown, do not have any relationship that I can see with recouping the fees. You've got on here approximately, give or take, a 30% increase across the board, in addition to which you're showing 6 hours of inspector's time. I have no idea how that came up with, because it may be 6 hours, but collectively, so it's more than, should be closer to a fraction of an hour from an individual point of view, once it's divided out. And on top of that, we need assistance with regards to getting people meeting the certification process, or this fitness, such as possibly a primer or an open book or something of that needs to be discussed. I think it would be best to postpone this at this, table it for now and review it some more.
Okay, I think that's the way that the commission's inclined. So, so then we don't need a vote because we're just continuing it. Is that correct, Julie?
I would actually recommend that someone move to continue it to the next meeting and request a presentation and discussion on the item, and then take the roll call from there.
I move to continue the item and get a presentation on this item.
Tell your doctor right away if you have
Second.
depression, unusual changes
Okay.
in behavior.
So all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right. So let's move on to the regular agenda item, because we still have a lot. So 3A is report by the department on the diversity of current members enrolled in DROP.
Good morning, Commissioners. Deputy Chief Everett, Chief of Staff. Before you is the report 2065, which is a DROP enrollees diversity report requested by Commissioner Woods Gray. Within the report, you'll see 5 fiscal years moving forward of people that are projected to exit DROP and the diversity of those folks that are scheduled to exit. a couple caveats with this report as you look at the numbers is people have the ability to leave early if they choose to. So even though they're in drop, these dates may not be rock solid for people leave for different reasons. So this is the best we can do to estimate when they would leave. And I'll focus your attention to fiscal years 22-23 and 23-24. In 22-23, we have 133 members scheduled to exit drop. And in 23-24, we have 205 members scheduled to exit drop. Over the total of the 5-year fiscal years that we looked at, we have 487 people that are scheduled to exit drop. And contained within the report, but not within the grid, are the number of our female employees that are scheduled to exit drop. So the total of that over the next 5 years is 19 women, which represents about 3.9% of the total number scheduled to exit. I can answer any other questions that you might have. In the final attachments are the raw numbers that come from the program that was created to try to pull this. There is some manual work that goes along with it, as Commissioner Woods-Gray and I have discussed, but we were able to do some of this electronically, which was helpful. But I can answer any other questions you might have.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you getting the report for us. It does do exactly what I wanted to see. I show what I wanted to see. Is there any other reason? Do people have to go through the drop program, or could they retire without this?
No, ma'am, they do not. It's not required that they enter drop. Folks can, there's a couple of reasons why someone may not enter drop. They might want to leave early and not meet the requirements and stay the extra time. Also, if you take a disability pension, you're not able to enter drop. So if somebody is unable to complete their career with a service pension, then they would not be eligible. So there are reasons why people would not enter drop.
So there are very few people who don't go through the drop program.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for the report.
Oh, can I ask, thank you so much for the report. I greatly appreciate it. Can we get the actual diversity numbers of the entire department so we can reference it? Because I don't know, I mean, I know what 4% is. Actually, I don't know, because I don't know what the current percent of women is. I don't know what the current percent of African Americans is. So when you have, 17% of those, in the drop, 35% at the bottom, how does that reflect and how are we backfilling those numbers? So can we get that added to this report?
Let me clarify so I get the report request correct. You're looking for a current snapshot of our diversity, gender and diversity in the department right now, right?
Yes, and can we get it also, can we get the, in the table, can we get the female numbers in there as well? It just gives us a better snapshot of what we need to backfill.
Yes, so that I just wanted to make sure I got what you're looking for correctly. So it'll be gender and diversity, current snapshot. Most of that's contained within the quarterly diversity report that we get from the personnel services section, but we can see what the most recent report back from them is and provide that.
Great, that would be great if we could just get that added to this report. And so can we see it? I would also like just to see it as well.
Well, are you saying that you want it added to this report or do you want it separately?
No, it could be added to this report. I mean, that's fine. I just want it for reference so that we can look at it and we can, when does this come back up again?
Well, this was a one-off report requested by Commissioner Woods-Gray. The drop numbers change, as you can imagine, as people become eligible to enter drop. Those numbers are going to change basically daily depending on someone's seniority. So there was no frequency of this report to come back demonstrated to me, just to provide the numbers as they stand today.
Yeah, if you could just add it to this report and then, it could go, it can continue, it could go into consent. I just want to see it all in the same report for next meeting.
For next, okay.
Just so we have it all in one place.
Okay, so do you want me to update the drop numbers that were provided today and to provide that into the next report as well, or just keep this report as is?
Yeah, if there's been a change, that'd be great. I think the most current would be great.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sorry, I muted myself. Do we, that's it for this report? Do we need a vote?
So you would need a vote, but it would be as amended. So to reflect Commissioner Ninberg's request. It would be to receive and file the report as amended by Commissioner Ninberg. That would be the motion.
Okay, but we don't have that report before us right now, right? Because she's requesting an amended report that we don't have yet.
Well, so what you could do is just, you're right, approve the report that's before you with a request that the department come back with additional information to this report for the commissioner's review on the consent agenda for the next meeting. That might be the cleanest way to do it, because otherwise you'd be voting on numbers that you haven't yet seen.
Right. So we receive and file this and then amend.
Then there's simply a request by the board to the department to add the information that Commissioner Ninberg has requested and bring that report back at the next meeting.
Motion and a second is needed, Julie?
Yes, because right now you have this report in front of you.
Correct.
So is the motion appropriate now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I move that we receive and file file 20-065, report 20-065.
Let me just ask Chief Everett, do you think you're going to have it by the next meeting?
I'm going to do my best, ma'am.
Okay.
I will, because I'm directed to do so. However, that gives me 4 days to pull these numbers up and get it to the commission secretary or commission executive assistant. And I don't have any staff in the office to do any of this type of work. So I'm going to do my best to knock it out.
What if we could do it October 1st too? That's fine. The first 30 days, it's fine as well. Would that help?
Yes, more time would help. Yes, ma'am.
Motion.
Okay, great. So make a motion to receive the report.
So did we clear that last motion?
No, hold on. No. Hold on, everyone. I believe Commissioner Woods Gray made a motion to receive and file this report. I think that's an appropriate motion. Okay. The return of the report with additional information is really a request by the board. It doesn't necessarily have to be moved on, but unless there is a majority of board members that don't want that, you know, and then I think we'd have to dig a little. But so let me be clear. I think the clearest thing would be to move to receive and file this report and direct the department to return in 30 days with a report that includes the additional information articulated by Commissioner Ninberg.
I so move.
There you go.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Okay, so that's 3 votes. Moving on to 4B is report by the department on the revised promotional examination timelines.
Good morning, everybody. President Ibarra, Commissioners, Fire Chief Terrazas.
Good morning.
Assistant City Attorney Radfish and Letitia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Steve Hissong. I'm the Assistant Chief in charge of the Training Division assigned to Training and Support Bureau. I'm here today to present the report that was presented 30 days ago as a revised on the promotional examination timelines as part of our successional plan to prepare for the predicted record high drop deferred retirement option plan, as you've seen in the report just presented earlier. The purpose of the report that I'm presenting is as part of our strategic plan, the LAFD is preparing for the highest number of retirements, specifically in the fiscal year of 23-24, especially at the command level. So this report sets the course to align the beginning of our promotional dates with those highest months projected in the drop program. Give you a little bit of history, and I'll kind of recap it a little bit because there was a couple of commissioners here that were not here on the first time I presented it. If you look at page 2, there is an actual projected list of all of the drop number attritions from the fiscal year 2014 and 15 all the way through the fiscal year 23 and 24. These numbers can reflect that in the years 2014 through 2016, we had record high numbers of retirements at that time. We are predicted to have those same high type of numbers in the fiscal years of 22-23 and 23-24. The last time we had these high numbers, we were in severe staffing shortages. So we are not going to have the same challenges in the upcoming years as we did last time. And one of the things that we were challenged last time was our predicted promotional timelines last time in the years 2014 through 2016 were in alignment with both of those years on one promotional list. So they were record high promotional lists. So in alignment with trying to prepare the best possible candidates for our record high attrition coming up in the years 23-24, we're trying to set the course with our promotional timelines so we split those years. So if you look at the chart that has the promotional timelines, it's showing 6 different ranks with 4 of those dates actually changing slightly. So when we are at the time of promotions for the fiscal year 23 and 24, our beginning of our promotional dates will align with the highest peak of numbers retiring at those times. The reason this is kind of important, it does specifically a few things. It will help not only the department and the city personnel in being able to conduct those tests, because now we can align our staffing when those projected dates are going to happen. It'll also help our department provide preparatory and mentorship programs specifically to the candidates to be successful on those dates and timelines. And more importantly, it actually allows the members, the personnel members, to schedule the time to actually put forth the time when they're going to actually know those promotional dates are going to occur. So it really helps all 3 entities be able to predict the timelines of when those promotional exams will happen, and the members to prepare because they'll know when those timelines are going to be. So at the exam dates, it'll realignment with these numbers that the dates that we just provided. It'll realignment between now and the next exam, but more importantly, it lines the course for the years of 23 and 24, fiscal years of 23-24. What this will not do is it will not change any of the other ranks. So for example, the only ones we're looking at changing the promotional dates slightly on is apparatus operator, captain 1, captain 2, and battalion chiefs. The rest of the ranks, for example, inspector 1, inspector 2s, will not change. We will still continue putting those promotional exams on as needed when they expire. And the specialty ranks, for example, the helicopter pilots, fireboat mates, those ones will continue with the same course that we do right now, that when we need those promotional ranks, the dates of those promotions, they will occur when those are needed. So none of those other ranks will be affected by this timeline here. With that being said, that's all I have in conclusion of this report. I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, I have a question. Thanks, Chief. So I certainly appreciate the forward thinking on trying to be ready for this. My question, though, is, well, so we've sort of seen this movie before. right? A couple of years back, you know, we had this kind of we had record drop years before. It's not like we're going to set a new record. And so it's good we're preparing for the command staff, but the other impact of those record vacancies was impact on paramedics. And so my concern here is that we're going to solve our command staff issue, but we're about to repeat the mistake of the past where we ended up dramatically short in the paramedic rank. And it is possible to try to have a rough prediction of what we'll do to our paramedic rank, because we can look at the last 5 to 10 promotional lists and we can see what percentage of those lists of people moving out of the I guess unrated members, what percentage of them were paramedics. And by my casual count, something like 50% of people moving out of the, promoting out of the firefighter rank were paramedics. So if we know what the drop projection is, which we do, right? You've looked at that, that's the point of the drop. We can also predict what's going to happen to our paramedic rank with some level of accuracy. How are you preparing for that at the same time that you are thinking about the command staff?
You're absolutely right, Commissioner, and thank you for your question. This targeted timelines was not directed specifically for command staff. It's for all ranks. So therefore, if you look at the AO, Captain 1, Captain 2, and battalion chiefs, they're all in reflection of preparing for the highest attrition rates through drop. So although I mentioned that our highest attrition will be coming from the command staff that will be affected, that's not the intended purpose of this report. It's for all ranks. And your specifically question on firefighter paramedics, it's about 40 to 50% on the Captain 1's level that they promote into the Captain 1's level. And by having a specific targeted dates of when those promotional exams will happen between now and the fiscal year of 23-24, it actually helps us really target those numbers you're referring to, because now we can really specifically target how many firefighter paramedics we need to get each fiscal year between now and those years to ensure that we don't have a detriment to those ranks specifically, firefighter, paramedics, inspectors. We have the breakdown. I don't have it specifically right now, but it's very, very targeted on, if you look at each one of the Captain 1's exams, you can see how many people are firefighter, paramedics, firefighters, EITs, inspectors, so on and so forth. And it's actually by having a set timelines, it actually helps us with those predicted numbers and preparation.
Yeah, so I totally appreciate what you're saying there, and that logic sounds correct. I think where my concern lies is that we're going to approve this report, right? And the logic is sound here, right? But then there will be no prioritizing of considering what to do about paramedics, because historically there hasn't been until there's a crisis. And so what I'm worried about is that if we go ahead and approve this report today, that we will have there will be no follow-up on our plan to ensure that the paramedic rank isn't gutted, and that we don't end up in 22, 23, 24, where we were in 2013, 14, 15, with deeply poor morale in the paramedic rank, and increased response times to EMS emergencies. So how can we ensure that we're going to get the same level of planning on the paramedic plan soon, in advance, as you've done, as the good work you've done on planning for all the other ranks?
Commissioner Glazer, this is the fire chief.
Yeah.
Excellent question. The response is that we will have to, in a parallel track, prioritize hiring firefighter medics, number one, and we get about 15 on average every class. And number two, we're going to have to increase the number of paramedics we send to paramedic school each year. And we have 40 of those each year. So to answer your question, we're going to have to increase those two efforts to match the number of paramedics that are promoting out of that rank.
So that, again, so I get the logic there. I will say that we have historically had difficulty increasing those numbers under the current operational, or under our current operational plans. We were unable to keep up with those numbers, the kind of vacancies we had prior. So what I'm asking for is I want us to be able to see those predictive numbers and then see what it would take to get there. And if we can't get there based on history, right, then we need to think of a different way of dealing with the problem than just assuming more people are going to go to paramedic school, because historically that has not borne out as a reality. So my question is, if we approve this report now, what assurance do we have that we're going to get that anytime soon? Because we've been talking about medics for quite a while, and candidly, there's always some amount of resistance to having this discussion and looking at the numbers and making plans here. So what can we do to ensure that we're going to have that level of planning done soon, so that we don't get to the middle of next year and still not have it done?
Commissioner Glazer, another excellent point. When we have those spikes in promotions, we don't have the capacity to match the spike, but in time we catch up because it's a continual flow. What I propose is that I start a report to show you the anticipated number of paramedics we're going to need to either hire or send to paramedic school so we can match the number of members projected to promote.
I think that would be great. I think that should come to the commission, and I think we should be able to go over those numbers. How soon do you think something like that would be available to us? And I'm asking a legitimate question here. I'm not telling you it needs to come next week. I'm asking you, when do you think you can create this report for this to come to us, so that we can have this discussion sooner rather than later? Again, I don't want to get to the spring and not have this figured out.
I understand, Commissioner. We could get it back to you in 30 days.
I will accept 45 just to make sure that is where you are. And with that, I will allow this. I will vote to move this forward. But if we do not have that report in front of us, then this report needs to come back, and we will vote again on whether the promotional schedule can move forward. So 45 days to start talking about the paramedic thing, extra time there. I want you to have the time you need to do it right. We can make it 60 if you want. I'm just saying that these timelines on this promotional report will directly impact our ability to service the EMS needs of our city. So it's really, really important that they are both figured out at roughly the same time. So my motion would be that we will allow this report to be approved as the recommendation, with the amendment that if we do not have a paramedic report in front of us that is approved by the end of this calendar year, that this report must come back for another look.
I second.
I want to understand if the 3 commissioners are speaking before this meeting, because if so, that's a Brown Act violation.
And we do understand the rules, and we do know how to follow them. I passed that equity test,
I just want to make sure that there isn't some coordination going on, because we've had all of these votes where we have 3 commissioners who seem to be on the same page on everything. And so that just seems suspicious.
Madam President, we haven't voted yet on this. All we have is a second. I've just spent the last 10 minutes explaining what I'm doing at great length. If we'd figured it out, I wouldn't have wasted my breath. No one likes hearing me talk. Everybody knows that.
And we have no idea what Andrew is going to say, but we do know he likes to talk. But he has good things to say.
That much is clear, and I would have saved my breath and all your ears if this was figured out already. So I'm happy to explain it more. Shall I start again?
But I also think that he has valid points. When I read this, that is not what I would have seen. And as he raised it, oh, that is important. And I think that's something that we need to consider for the citizens of Los Angeles.
Okay.
And for the record, I resent the implication that because you do not agree with me, that somehow there's something sinister at work. As Commissioner Woods-Gray said earlier, this is a democratic process. So spare me your accusations.
Yes,
the motion is on the table, and there is a second. Feel free to comment if you want to.
So this is the second time that this report has come before us. And every time it's come before us, a commissioner has spoken and said that there's something else that needs to be considered before this one can go forward. So it just feels like it's a really heavy hand to sort of force the department to do, to work on other issues that you want the department to move on. So those are my comments. It feels like a really heavy hand.
Madam President, you perhaps did not understand the motion. I'll repeat it for you. I move to approve the recommendation on this report. However, with the amendment that if we do not receive projections and plans to ensure adequate staffing for paramedics on a parallel track, that this report will return for another vote by the end of the calendar year.
So I just want to know that we're not going to come back, have this report, and then Nimberg's going to say, well, I'm not going to vote on this report until I get this thing, until I get that thing. It's like a little game here, and it's just not, I just think that we all kind of need to.
Whoa, wait a second.
That's very unfair.
Fundamentally unacceptable. When Commissioner Glazer raises an issue that concerns the citizens of Los Angeles, how dare you call that sinister? And how dare you try to stop this? That doesn't even make sense. And this is the responsibility of the commission as an oversight body to protect the citizens and to protect the department.
Okay, are we going to vote on this?
The motion has been seconded.
Okay, you have a motion and a second. Now you need to take a roll call vote, everybody.
Yes. So why don't we have a roll call?
Thank you.
Leticia?
We have a public comment on this item. Thank you.
Very good.
The person in 805 area code ending in 105, I'm going to unmute you. Oh, I can't again. So if you can unmute yourself, please. Another issue. Let's see. Ask to unmute. On the gallery, I cannot do that. So let me look for you on this other location. Participants. Oh, you're unmuted. Okay, please identify yourself. Prefix 805, number ending in 105, and you have 2 minutes. Are you commenting on this item, sir?
Yeah, this is Freddie Escobar, President of United Firefighters of Los Angeles City, representing our brothers and sisters. This is a question for the city attorney. Good morning, everybody. Point of order. I'd just like to know is Commissioner Glazer's, is it a
Thank you.
quid quo pro ask he's asking the fire department to do, where, hey, I'm okay approving this only if you do this?
Well, it's not really appropriate for me to respond to your comment, but I will say that a commissioner may certainly make whatever motion they want, and it is just the motion of that single commissioner until such time as it's seconded and a majority of the commissioners vote on it. That's about as much as I can say.
Okay, and
Okay.
I know these are unusual times during Corona, right? And that's why I'm asking, because it sure sounds like a quid quo pro to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say that I never called this sinister. I called this a very heavy hand with respect to this report, and this is the second time that this has happened. All right, so let's have a roll call vote.
Okay. Ibarra,
No.
Glazier,
Yes.
Hara,
Aye.
Ninberg,
Here. Yes.
Woods Gray.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, so next item is verbal update on the department's response to coronavirus.
Morning again, Commissioners. Just an update on our efforts for testing and an update on our members that have come down positive with the virus. So over the course of time, we've had 166 members of the fire department come back positive, 162 sworn, and 4 civilians. Currently, we have 7 members in isolation. That number did spike right around 64 at one time, and we've been able to get most of those people back to work, but we have 7 people that remain in isolation. 3 members additional to that number are no longer in isolation, but they're unable to return to work at this time. So we're waiting for their return as soon as possible. Moving to some of the test sites that I've provided you some numbers with in the past, the city and the department has, obviously the department's been very much involved in the testing process from the start, working with our partners at CORE. And to date, we're over 1.2 million people tested throughout the city at all the different sites. So they've been working very hard. We still have a footprint of around 30 people assisting at those testing sites for logistical efforts and for test site manager positions and things of that nature. So we still do have a footprint of personnel working in the testing branch. Due to the weather recently, we've had some early closures of some of the test sites in the valley due to the heat. So we've had to have limited testing availability for those extremely hot days. In addition to the drive-up sites that we have, and I think you're all aware, we have the site at Dodger Stadium, we have Hanson Dam, Crenshaw Christian Center, the Veterans Administration over on the west side, the Lincoln site and the West Valley site. Those are the drive-through sites that we manage. We also have 2 of the walk-in sites that account for roughly 500 to 600 tests a day. And we also assist other departments like Rec and Parks and LAPD and going through with different departments and different organizations to get their members tested as well. Within the testing branch, we have a mobile testing group, and they work with the assisted living facilities. They also work in community outreach locations on a mobile basis where they're able to provide testings at that location. And so we have been very involved in that as well. Other than that, that's the most up-to-date information on the numbers, and I can try to answer any questions you may have about our COVID response at this time.
Nope. So do we have any public comments?
I will double check. but I don't see any hands raised at the
Okay,
moment.
so
There's
we don't.
49, one moment, there's 49 participants. Let me scroll all the way up.
Madam President, before you vote on that, I do want to update you. Of the members that have been off duty and have not returned to duty, we do have the one member that passed away, Jose Perez, and we had his memorial recently. Just a reminder to the commission.
That's right. Yeah.
That we talked about him last time.
And there is no vote required because it's a verbal report.
Right. So if there's no public comment, then we can just go to general comments.
That's
Confirmed.
So we have 10.
Confirmed.
And I think it might be helpful to remind the individuals who are providing comment that each individual will give up to 2 minutes. And because the items upon which you are speaking are not on the agenda, it would not be appropriate for any of the commissioners to engage in a dialogue relative to any of the public comment provided. So I just wanted to make sure the audience understood that.
Right. So we can't provide a response, but we will. And we are strict about 2 minutes always, but especially now because we have a lot of public comments. So Letita, do we have the first?
I will know the first 3. Please get ready to mute and unmute yourselves and then continue from there. Gerald Durant, Robert Hawkins, and Kevin Johnson are the first 3 that will be speaking. All I see is phone numbers on my end, so you will need to unmute yourself to speak or raise your hand, and then staff can assist. Oh, I have a raised hand. One moment, please. Carr, I am not able to unmute. Can someone unmute, please?
Do they need to know about, what do they do? Star 9, star 6, star something? Do they know what to do?
Okay, they are now unmuted. The telephone number beginning in 323097 ending, you are unmuted. You have 2 minutes. Identify yourself, please.
Good morning, Commissioners and Fire Chief. My name is Rachel Valenzuela, and I am a Senior Administrative Clerk currently working with the Arson Counterterrorism Section. I have been working for the section for 8 years. I am here to speak today to hopefully be able to address some concerns and rally your support. I will also say being here today is not without hesitation. I have concerns about what could happen for doing so. My coworkers and I attended a lunch meeting on our own time a few weeks ago at the Stentorian Center. We are currently still working from home and go into the office alternating days, 1 to 2 days a week. The following day, my coworker, Daisy Flores, was taken aside by the arson supervisors and asked where we were and what was discussed in the meeting. She contacted me, she sounded distraught, and explained what took place. The next day, the clerical staff received an email from Chief Anderson stating we were to have a mandatory meeting that Thursday to discuss expectations. What was discussed and what was reviewed were 2 different things. The meeting took an uncomfortable tone. I felt it was a reprimand, and we were being told how things could impact us negatively if we would not follow suit. I stated I was uncomfortable and requested to resume the meeting with a representative present. In the past, I've had positive, supportive experience with my supervisors, but this experience was very unnerving. And this is not the only experience within the past 2 years. I have personally been disrespected to the point a complaint to the Professional Standards Division was generated. I appreciate my position with the department and the City of Los Angeles. I've learned and gained so many opportunities here, and I enjoy my position and working for the section. At this time, I would appreciate your support, and thank you for your time and letting me speak today. It's much appreciated.
Thank you, Rachel. Your time is
What
up.
was the name of the speaker?
Rachel Valenzuela.
So before we go any further, because we have a lot of public speakers, I just want to remind all the public speakers that to the extent that you're bringing up any issues that may need to be reviewed or investigated, we will refer them to PSD. And some of these issues, I mean, we can't decide them on the fly, so they will be referred to PSD. And I assume that because you're coming forward in a public forum, that's going to be okay, because you're already putting it in the public record. So just want to remind everybody that if they're of that nature, then they will be referred to PSD for investigation, because these allegations need to be investigated. And I'm not saying that there is a violation or not. That's the reason for the investigation, and that's what PSD does. Okay, so thank you. And then next person.
I did not receive a hand raised from Gerald Durant, Robert Hawkins, or Kevin Johnson, so I'll simply move down the list for the moment. The next person I have is Nick Banks, Daisy Flores. I had Rachel, but she's already gone. And then I have Robert McLeod. So let me check again. Okay, I have 3 hands raised. One moment, please. Number ending in 477, please identify yourself.
Kevin Johnson.
Great. Okay, you have 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
Okay, my name is Kevin Johnson. I'm the Vice President of the Stentorian Organization. And I was supposed to speak last, but I'll go on and speak now. Basically, I'm here today, Madam President and Fire Commission, to speak about things that have been going on in the past. Some of my concerns is social media. As you know, there's been a lot of things going on publicly, social media, through the fire department members. And my concern is that we are firefighters 24/7. We are called and sworn to the city of Los Angeles to treat the citizens and to be there for them in time of need. And legally, we've had a social media policy put out by our fire chief, and it was a good document, and talked about having disclaimers, basically saying the views are not of those of the fire department. My concern is that we don't want to violate anyone's First Amendment right, but are you still held accountable for what you say? Just because you have First Amendment rights doesn't mean that if you say anything that violates our policies, they still can't be spoke to, disciplined or detailed, pending something you said or done. We've had a few incidents on social media where people have said things that were not encouraged to our policy, and they have not been moved, or they've been at their place of employment until it's going through due process. It's been entered in CTS policy. It's been through due process, and our concern is why are those members possibly detailed until pending investigation, because they're subject matter of investigation. That's one point. Try to get to the other things too. And my concern is what is zero tolerance? What is a zero tolerance policy we talk about, but what is it, and when are we going to act on it? And then, as the lady spoke earlier, we've been a voice for those who feel they didn't have a voice, supporting the members sworn and not sworn in arson. They have some concerns, feelings of being a toxic environment, and upon them meeting with us, they were basically interrogated coming back, and that's inappropriate. Again, what is zero tolerance? We can't treat people and make them feel uncomfortable for something they haven't done. They have the right to do on their own.
Your time is up, sir.
Lastly, okay. All right,
thank you. Next person.
One moment.
There's a 213477 number that I see.
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay.
Yes.
My name is Robert Hawkins. Good morning, Madam President, Fire
Good
Commissioners,
morning.
and Fire Chief Terrazas. My name is Robert Hawkins. I'm representing the Stentorian Organization. Today, I'm here to talk to you about a concern with the lack of accountability in our fire department. It has been brought to our attention that disrespectful social media posts have been made regarding Camilla Harris and race, culture, and gender issues from members in our department. These attitudes, opinions, and comments are divisive to our department, and they jeopardize the safety of our members. It is my understanding that the city attorney are aware of some of these issues, reminding us about our First Amendment right of freedom of speech. It is also my understanding that the city attorney is an advisor and the fire chief has final authority. Recently, 14 fire departments from Oregon, Texas to the FDNY have decided to raise the bar of accountability with immediate time off, most leading to terminations for similar offenses. Today, our complaint tracking system are allowing these firefighters to respond into communities with a distasteful and disrespectful bias against citizens of color. If I was to define zero tolerance by the LAFD's action to carry it out, I would be missing the mark. Holding members accountable should be the immediate detailing and or placing members off duty while waiting on the process to run its course. If we are holding members accountable, we can prevent and eliminate a few recent complaints we've made the department aware of. For example, it was reported that an individual in the firefighter recruitment section made a comment that a Mexican candidate will have a higher chance of getting hired if they were to paint their face black. There have been multiple harassment and retaliation complaints in the arson section and multiple offensive social media posts made towards women and African Americans. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 3 more.
Number beginning in 949, 938, number beginning in 939, 562, ending in 939, and 323589. Please identify yourselves, anyone, before I go down the list.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Joseph Smith. Am I on with you all now?
You are. Thank you.
We can hear you.
Thank you. First of all, good morning, Madam President, and good morning to all the Commissioner Board. My name is Joseph Smith. I'm an arson investigator with the Los Angeles City Fire Department. I'm a 17-year veteran of this fire department, and I have approximately 7 years as an arson investigator. I went back to school and achieved my arson certification through the state of California on my own time and my own dime. I don't ask for a department or the city or anyone to do anything for me. I believe in working hard and doing it for myself, which I have. I just want to, actually, what I've heard earlier, I needed to change up what I actually wanted to say, but there is horrific incidents going on in the arson section right now, and that is caused by the command staff in the arson section, the chief and the 2 captains, under the direction of Robert Nelson, Al Poyer, and Chief Terrazas. They all are aware of it. I was accused of being on drugs back in March of 2019. It has been almost 2 years now since this case has been looked at. PSD is the problem. Someone mentioned earlier about these issues that are being raised the board can't address. I understand that. But the problem is PSD. PSD is failing to do their proper investigation. I'm an investigator. I take people's freedom away. I invest the crimes of arson within the city of Los Angeles, and we arrest people. What has been going on with this fire department, with the racial attacks and the retaliation and harassment, is horrific. Our clerical staff, our 3 beautiful, lovely ladies in the clerical staff of the arson section have been targeted unbelievably. It is out of control of what's going on here in the arson section under the direction of Ralph Terraza, and he knows about it. This is horrific. I've had to call the police twice already for incidents and attacks that have come upon me. I have 17 years on this fire department, and I just recently received my first 2 reprimands. This is unbelievable. And this case, I've been told, is closed by PSD, and they haven't even interviewed 5 of the arson investigators who have information to this case.
Mr.
My
Smith,
name has
pardon
been
me.
cleared.
Pardon me, Mr. Smith. This is Letitia Gomez, but your 2 minutes are up, unfortunately.
Thank you. And we have received other of your communications. So we have 3 more or 2 more.
The hands raised for the number beginning in 562, 939, or 323, 589. Carr, if you can unmute. Oh, there we go, because I don't have that ability. The number 323 ending in 589. You have 2 minutes, please.
Good morning, Commissioners of the Board. My name is Daisy Flores. I am an administrative clerk in the arson section, and I am here to express the many concerns and issues that the other administrative staff and I have experienced with the arson command staff. I do come here with fear of retaliation, as it already has occurred recently. Some of the things I have been going through have made me feel harassed and undermined as a woman, Latina, and valuable employee of the arson section. Just recently, I was forced to speak to the captains regarding a lunch meeting with the Centurions. I was approached by a captain at my workstation and told command staff members that they want to speak to me in the conference room. I asked if I was being reprimanded, and he said no, but I needed to go inside the room to speak to them. I asked what this was regarding, and he said it was about a meeting that I attended on August 17, 2020. I immediately expressed my discomfort with this conference room meeting. I was not offered any union representation, and I felt bullied and that I had no choice. I entered the conference room with another captain inside, and the room door was shut, and I found myself alone in a room with two male supervisors. The two captains were firm and aggressive and wanted me to discuss this lunch meeting at the Centurion's office. I was asked what the meeting was about and anyone planning to file a formal complaint on the command staff. I expressed my discomfort with being aggressively questioned on matters discussed with the Centurions and requested a formal meeting. I felt violated and scared, and I spent the rest of my day processing what just had happened. 2 days later, on August 19, 2020, after my interrogation, Chief Anderson requested a mandatory meeting with the clerical staff. Chief Anderson not only raised his voice at us, but even stated he is our boss and we do what he says. We do not serve the arson investigators. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the arson section, and we are there to work as a team, support the investigators to help provide the service to victims and the community. It wasn't until this meeting, which feels as retaliation, that the command staff is asking us to check in, specify where we are going, provide some detailed information about our week. Although I understand this is part of my job, this was never a concern to them in the past. Therefore, this feels like a punishment for attending the lunch meeting at the Centurion's office. I have filed a PSD complaint regarding this specific incident, yet no one has spoken to the arson clerical staff, and I feel as no one is concerned with our well-being. I love working at the arson section.
I'm so sorry. Your 2 minutes are up. I apologize for having to cut you off. This is
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got to go back in my flatbed. Just been counting with smoking weed and everything.
Excuse me. Someone's mic is on.
Who is that?
Hello. One moment, please. Okay, this one is...
So that's the last one, right? 323-589, because we just heard phone 1562.
I thought I heard you say McLeod at the beginning. Is McLeod not there? I made a list of the people you said that were there.
Okay, there's two more. There's two more.
We have
Rachel.
Next is 562 and 939.
Okay.
If you can unmute yourself, I'm asking to unmute and more, but I don't have that ability. Or CAR, ITB, can someone unmute the 562 prefix, please? Okay, number 562, good morning. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good morning, Madam President, Fire Commissioners, Chief Terraza. My name is Robert McLeod. I'm the Senior Arson Investigator. I've been assigned to the arson section for approximately 14 years. I come to you seeking help and guidance. I would like to start by saying I come in fear with negative ramifications from our immediate command staff after speaking with you. Still, my fellow investigators and I feel something needs to be said. All 16 investigators and three office staff members in arson have read this document and approve of its content in its entirety. I have witnessed retaliation, harassment, harmful targeting of members assigned to the arson section by our command staff. Investigators also have witnessed the same behavior. In the arson section, the command staff does not practice the core values set forth by the fire chief. Instead, they have created a hostile work environment, making it difficult for investigators to focus on caseload, court proceedings, and routine investigations. Our office staff civilians have expressed the same feelings to me and to my fellow investigators, which has resulted in a lack of communication, disrespect, and no support from our command staff. We realize that the fire chief is responsible for managing over 3,500 members. We are an important component of this department. The fire chief's expectations are that all LAFD members, both sworn and civilian, deserve the same fair and equitable treatment from the leadership put in place. I am here to sadly inform you that this is not happening in the arson section, and for this reason, change is needed. We invite the Fire Commission and the Fire Chief to meet with us, hear our concerns, and better understand the stressful and daily challenges created by our command staff. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more. 562939.
That was McLeod, Miss Ma'am.
Okay, there was a 323 number, so but it looks like there's no more comments.
There are 3 more phone numbers I see. The only names that I have left on the list are Nick Banks and Gerald Durant.
Okay. Is there, they don't have a
Nick
raised
Banks.
hand, so perhaps they're calling by phone, and we need to remind them that if they're calling by phone, they need to, what is the number that they they dial star?
Escobar, are you still on? I see 805-105, and your line is open.
Yes.
Are you wanting to comment on this item, sir?
On general public, yes.
General public comment, sure.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Can you-
I'm
can you
sorry.
hear me?
Stand by. We had
Okay, how
2
you
people on at the same time. We had Escobar and you with the mic open. Are you the 719878 ending?
Correct.
Correct? Okay. And your
Correct.
name
Yes.
is? And go ahead, sir.
My name is Dominic Banks, longtime Los Angeles resident. I wanted to speak on the Los Angeles Times report that was written on the firemen, and just more of a state of mind. I grew up. I am an Inglewood resident. Like I said, graduated from Monroe Morningside High School. I believe the relations that we're having with the LAFD and the LAPD and the Los Angeles County Sheriffs go hand in hand. Unfortunately, with this situation, the people and the taxpayers are tired. We're seeing the same common job practices of hiring within family. We're not seeing the community being represented, and then we're being constantly disrespected by the LAPD, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and now the LAFD. Such in regards to the posts that are being made, such in regards to this. This is extremely horrendous. And as people, and as I speak for the people, as we're looking for to defund the LAPD, we will start to look into the LAFD as well as the Inglewood Fire Department, as well as other fire departments that are in the county of Los Angeles, as well as in California. We are taxpayers, and we are tired of the disrespect that we are receiving when we're having firemen show up and having biased attitudes such as the police department. And people that sit back, they say, hey, we have good cops. Well, you're not a good cop if you sit back and you let a bad cop do something and it goes unspoken and unwarranted. And it has started a gang mentality such as the 3,000 Boys, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Vikings, and we're starting to see that with the LAFD, with women being harassed, with compliance, especially minorities, Latinos, Chicanos, blacks, Asians, which would probably make everybody wonder, and just wondering where's they're going to show a reflection to the city of Los Angeles, that the beautiful city that we love as taxpayers, that people come from all over the world to live, and we just want to be treated, not walking around and tearing up the community and saying Black Lives Matter. We want to be treated as American citizens and Los Angelinos, taxpayers.
Sir,
That's
I
all I have to say.
apologize. Thank you so much for your comment. I apologize.
Thank you.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have, I know we still have, we have 213126. And then we also have Fred Escobar.
Okay, Clark, thank you, whoever unmuted. 213126, please identify yourself, and you have 2 minutes for comments. Your hand
Gerald
is
Durant.
raised. Good morning,
Gerald
sir.
Durant.
Good morning, sir.
How
Go
are you?
ahead.
Hi, this is Gerald Durant, Los Angeles Centurion. I just want to continue to talk about our values, our moral commitment. When we start looking closely, we are not sure everyone is committed to our core values. But when we have young members wanting to be firefighters, we say to them, before you become firefighters, you will have to understand these core values. What I'd like us to do is continue to champion, including, not excluding. But I don't want this department to feel that we are the only fire department that has gender and other issues. One of our greatest assets as Americans is the commitment to service. Military, police, fire, medical. That's our greatest asset. And I want to make sure every one of us understand that we all are accountable. We're all responsible for that moral commitment. And when it's not achieved, we have to look at ourselves and blame ourselves. Also, we have to look in the mirror sometimes and locate that face that has the unwavering courage and dignity and willingness to be gracious and humble, and also be honored to wear that badge over their heart. We've come a long way. And the only thing that's going to help us go and continue to go down a path of success is to hold up that commitment we all made. I want to make sure that everybody's treated right. I want to make sure that we all bring dignity to the communities in their worst times with a smile or a helping hand. All communities want respect. Some have been saying it for a long time, and they are tired. And when their voices speak, we need to listen. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So just a reminder for people calling on via telephone, you can do *9 if you want to be heard. I know we had a long list, and I know Escobar is also on the list to be heard. Do we have? I don't see any raised hands.
So, Escobar, can you unmute or raise your hand and unmute yourself if you're commenting, please? There he is. He just came back on.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Yes.
All right, well, again, good morning. Freddie Escobar, President of United Firefighters of Los Angeles City. I'd be remiss not to address the comments that were just made. 110% agree with President Durant. And to that point is one of the things, and I'd have to acknowledge the fire chief and his command staff, what we have done in collaboration, not only with UFLAC, but with all the special interest groups that we meet on a quarterly basis. We're addressing issues. We're being proactive. Not one of us at UFLAC nor the representatives want nothing but the best for the city of Los Angeles. We're here to work in collaboration. We're here to address issues. With that being said, thank you, Fire Chief, for leading us. Thank you, President Durant, also President now for the sirens. I'm drawing a blank, and I apologize. And also Los Bomberos for working in collaboration with UFLAC on management on moving forward. My last comment is to the President of the Fire Commission. If she would consider reaching out to the mayor's office and to really have a Fire Commission meet as a needed basis due to the highly activity of not only COVID-19, but also during the brush seasons. We have members that are deployed for 14 to 21 days, not only in the command staff, but also members that are on projects that aren't able to do the project because they're called for a greater good right now. And even though that they're assigned to administrative work, they're still eligible to be deployed. So what you think is your administrative emergency, we don't believe there's an administrative emergency timeline for us. So if the President of the Fire Commission could consider that, it would be much appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So I just heard that Chief Terrazas wants to address the group, so he will go last. There's no other public comments, correct?
No, the only last one we had was for Nick Banks, but I see no hands raised.
Oh, we heard from him. I think he's Dominic Banks. We heard
thank
from
you
him.
so much. Thank you.
So now, we'll just go with Chief Terrazas.
Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. First of all, let me say that I respect everybody's statements today about all these issues, but I wanted to speak directly to our commissioners, our board. Number one, I want to say thank you. For the last 6+ years, you have been a consistent source of support and leadership. Today emotions were raised, and I understand it. We have multiple issues currently happening. The COVID rush fires, the upcoming presidential election, civil unrest. Our civilian staff, the majority of our civilian staff hasn't been here since March. I assure you we will work together to address your requested reports. I ask for your patience. We will make it happen. We will make it work. We'll work collaboratively. I want to set an example from myself and this board for our almost 4,000 employees, civilian sworn. So thank you for the service that you have given us, and I look forward to our continued collaboration in the future.
Thank you, Chief. With that, I think we can adjourn because we don't have any other comments.
We didn't have the commissioners' comments.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Woods-Gray.
Oh, yes. Last time we met, I think I was getting ready to go to the Democratic Convention. Now the Democratic Convention is over, and as the Chief said, we're getting ready for the election. And so I hope that everyone who's under the sound of my voice has registered. You will receive an absentee ballot in the mail if you live in California, and you're registered to vote. So be aware of that and look for it, and don't throw it out like it's a piece of trash mail, and use it and put it in the mail immediately. Don't hold those ballots because we can't trust the post office these days. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that I don't know, after the newspaper article, I began to think maybe fire department may need to look at cameras, because cameras seem to be providing us with lots of information that we're not able to get. And also, I'd like an update on this particular issue, because every time something is asked, we say, oh, it's a personnel issue. Well, according to the newspaper, the open government advocates disagree with that and say that the California courts have lifted such privacy protections in the cases in which significant wrongdoing is alleged. So I'd like to have an update maybe on that particular issue and personnel, and maybe a closed session or whatever is necessary. But I think as commissioners, we need to understand the difference between the personnel and the open government issues. So those are some of the things I just wanted to raise under the comments. And I appreciate the fact that the fire department is continuing to work on COVID-19. It is a tragedy, and we all are still afraid that we might catch it. So many of us, like me, I'm staying home, and I hope that other people are doing everything they can to stay safe and to be aware of the surroundings and practice all of the things that have been told to us by the mayor of Los Angeles, who has done an excellent job in providing leadership in this particular incident. Otherwise, our citizens would really have been in trouble. So we thank the mayor also for his work with COVID-19. And thank you very much.
I'd like to echo Commissioner Woods-Gray's comments on the hard work that I know people are doing around COVID-19, and we're all hoping that is alleviated soon. Similar to Commissioner Woods-Gray, I found a lot of the allegations we heard in public comment concerning to say the least. And I think it would be, I would ask for there to be some consideration of a closed session to discuss personnel matters if that's warranted based on the advice of counsel, both with regard to the situation in arson and what we read about in the newspaper. And I also think that when it comes to allegations of assault or more serious discussions, I think it's worth investigating with the independent assessor if there's some sort of ongoing reports that we can get there, or something more frequently than annual, so we have a better understanding of what's going on. Because as discussed, it really is disappointing to read about things in the newspaper and then have no sense of what's going on, whether it's an isolated incident or something much larger. And I want to thank the Centaurians for coming and bringing up the issue around social media and accountability. I hope that can get discussed as part of the racial equity discussion, but clearly we have some underlying issues in this department's culture that we need to bring up again, and we need to talk about, and we need to think about how we're doing it. And I look forward to having those discussions, but that can't continue. It's got to be a collaborative effort. No one should be made to feel less than in this department. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I forgot that part.
Yeah, thank you. First, thank you, Chief, for being willing to work on these issues and come together and make sure that we're addressing them. And City Attorney, I'm not sure how we set up a closed session, if that is the best way to go about addressing certainly these allegations that were brought today.
We'll need to discuss that offline.
Okay, great.
We'll need to look at that issue further and have a fuller discussion offline.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a closed session. Well, since I've been on the commission, we haven't had a closed session, so I don't know.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, we have had them in the past.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who came and spoke. While we've heard a few things from arson, this is the first we're hearing multiple issues at the same time. So I know it's a very brave person who will come and speak publicly about these issues. So thank you. And I also want to say to the department, thank you for your continued efforts dealing with the pandemic and all of its follow-up.
Oh, Madam President, I too want to thank the people who came and spoke. I forgot that because some of them touched my heart, especially if you feel threatened when you go back to your job. We have to really deal with those issues. We really must deal with them. If those people are feeling threatened after today, they need to let the chief know and let the commission know.
Okay. So, Commissioner Hara, I know that he's on the field. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been, once again, in terms of COVID, I've been managing a COVID test site for the county basically ever since Wednesday before Easter. But understand that the mayor has actually arranged for the AAPI commissioners, the Asian American Pacific Islander commissioners, to meet on a regular basis. And the last two meetings we had to do with racial equity. And so just be aware that, the issues primarily are in the Latino and African American communities and what have you, but, Asian Americans are equally affected and feel that we all need to act collectively, together rather than as the current occupant of the White House seems to be wanting to take us.
Thank you. So I will echo those comments as well, of course, and we've Latino commissioners have also been doing that as well. This weekend was the 50th anniversary, the commemoration of the Chicano moratorium, which is a really important event in Los Angeles that really defined the relationship between law enforcement and the Latino community. And I think so many people aren't from Los Angeles, so they weren't around here, or many of us weren't born yet. So, but it's a really defining event, and we're 50% of the population. We're certainly not 50% of the department, and the same thing for Asian Americans. And the disparities that African Americans continue to experience, including in our department, were heard today. So we're aware of that. We make progress and then we slip back. And so all of us need to be aware of that. And I think certainly we need to let the due process take its course, and we need to make sure that PSD is prepared to do thorough investigations on all of this. But certainly, even though we've made a lot of progress, it's obvious that we haven't made enough. So that's something that we continue to work on, and also just longstanding issues with women in the department and their significant underrepresentation. All of these issues are going to continue because we're a reflection of the society that we live in, and we live in a racist society. So we strive to make progress. I've seen a lot less of these issues since I've been on the commission, but we still see too many of them. But I, thank you to Chief Terrazas for being open about this, and also for making progress during your time here, and for setting a good example of what leadership looks like. And thank you to the union also for being open to being leaders on this. I think that that's definitely something that's different from the fire department that we saw 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when we had like really dramatic events of, obvious and hostile racial incidents against African Americans, and that the union wasn't willing to stand up for them. So we make progress, we're not enough, and just look forward to all of this. And I have difficult conversations all the time. So I have no problem sometimes. I mean, I'm a nice person, and I like to bring people together, but I'm also a litigator. So I'm not above having difficult conversations. And if they need to happen in public, then they need to happen in public. So we're going to continue to work through these things, and look forward to working on them. Thank you, everybody. So with that, we can adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I so move. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Bye. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye-bye. Everybody stay safe.